What is up, guys? Tony Picks here with another upload. This is going to be the UFC 237 Namajumas versus Andrade. One of the best fight cards of the year so far, if you ask me. A lot of great fights throughout the whole fight card. So let's get right into it, guys. This is going to be a full fight card prediction. I'm going to try to get through the early prelims pretty quick with the prelims and try to break down the main card more. I don't really want it to be that long of a video. Kicking off the card, we got a women's bantamweight bout with Gatto.Bernardo versus Melissa Gatto. Pretty easy matchup for me in terms of prediction. Melissa Gatto has taken her UFC debut. In my mind, solely a ground fighter. I've watched her fights, her old fights on YouTube and stuff like that. Nothing really stands out with the striking. Does have a good ground game, but that's about it. Doesn't have UFC experience, and she is undefeated. Strange how she's ranked 11th, and Gatto.Bernardo is ranked 15th. Gatto.Bernardo has faced a lot tougher opponents. Marion Renault, Irene.Aldana. She's fought some tough people. Sarah Moras, who's not that tough, but is a threat on the ground. Basically, the way I see this fight playing out is Gatto.Bernardo being the stronger fighter out of the two, having the more polished, stronger stand-up, being able to land the bigger strikes. Although she is easy to hit, she doesn't really have the best head movement. She has improved her stand-up, does have good hands, and does have some power, whereas Melissa Gatto isn't that experienced or polished on the feet. More just a ground fighter. She's even willing to pull guard. I've seen in a few of her fights. So for me, I think Melissa Gatto's only chance would be a submission off her back. But I think Gatto.Bernardo, having fought Marion Renault and Sarah Moras, some decent jiu-jitsu fighters, I think she's well equipped to avoid any threats from Melissa Gatto. So with that being said, I'm going to give the unanimous decision to Gatto.Bernardo. Squaring off in the next bout, we got a bantamweight bout between Huachine.Barcelos and Carlos Huachine. Another one for me that's a pretty easy breakdown for me. I think Huachine.Barcelos is a lot better than Carlos Huachine anywhere the fight goes. Carlos Huachine is a decent stand-up fighter, but I looked at the records of his previous opponents, and his last opponent had a 10-9 record. A few of his opponents had losing records, and I watched some of his fights. One of the guys was wearing like literally board shorts with boxer shorts underneath, so coming from a Peru kind of fighting circuit, Huachine.Barcelos has fought Kurt Holobaugh, who's on this card. Just got off a win of Chris Gutierrez, a submission win in the second round. I think Barcelos is kind of a one to watch in the bantamweight division. I think he has some development to do in terms of his head movement. He's got decent boxing. He comes out strong, really has power in both hands, throws a nice hook and a really nice uppercut. Has decent head movement, has a decent chin too. He was able to stand in there with Kurt Holobaugh, who's a really good boxer, and took some, not big shots, but took some shots fairly well, and was able to knock him out in the third round. So you know that Huachine.Barcelos has power in his hands. Also something to note about Huachine.Barcelos, he's got a wicked ground game. Although he has only, I believe, a blue or purple belt in BJJ, he does have a wicked ground game. We've seen that against Chris Gutierrez. He was not winning the fight on the feet. I think Chris Gutierrez was getting the better of him, using the distance well. And then Huachine.Barcelos actually got cut by an elbow from Chris Gutierrez. And basically the instant he got cut, he looked for the finish, and he was able to finish like 30 seconds after. So he's has an acid ground game. Carlos Huachine basically only has a puncher's chance in this fight. So even if he rocks Huachine.Barcelos, I think Barcelos will easily be able to get the takedown and submit him. So I kind of think it's a bit of pick your poison for Huachine.Barcelos. With that being said, I'm going to give Huachine.Barcelos the KO or submission in the first round. I think he's going to finish early. Being in Rio de Janeiro, his hometown, I think he's really going to be able to come out strong, land some big shots to Carlos Huachine, who hasn't fought anyone near his competition. Carlos Huachine has confidence, so he's going to come in thinking he's undefeated, has good stand-up, and I think he's going to get taught a really hard lesson in his first fight against a really tough fighter in that fighter's hometown. So I'm going to give the KO or submission to Huachine.Barcelos in the first round. Moving on to the next bout. Wow, to me, guys, this could easily be on a main fight card, even like a fight night. Not really a fight night because there's no title contention, but easily could be like a co-main event. This is a wicked fight. Two decent strikers, but two really nasty Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioners. Worley.Alves coming off a loss to James Krause, got KO'd by kind of like got rocked by a wicked knee and then got finished. Kind of seemed lethargic in that fight, didn't really have good stamina, was fading in the second round. Sergio Moraes coming off a loss of Tony Rocco Martin. Tony Rocco Martin's a really interesting fighter, but we've seen Sergio Moraes really just kind of only look to throw big, um, random shots and go for the takedown. That's what the guy tries to do. He's not going to pressure you. He's going to try to land big shots on the feet, unorthodox. So he's going to swing wide, really shots you're not expecting, and he's going to try to take you down. And when it's on the ground, it's completely in Sergio Moraes' world. But I think this is a bad matchup for him in terms of Worley.Alves, who has a wicked ground game. So I think and decent takedown defense, actually has decent wrestling. Um, and I think the key to beating someone with like Worley.Alves, who doesn't necessarily have the best gas tank really, was how James Krause fight him. If you watch the fight against James Krause, literally James Krause that whole fight was throwing shots, keeping the pressure on him, and that really gassed Worley.Alves. Worley.Alves wasn't really able to piece together his combos, land big shots, you know what I mean, mix it up, because James Krause was constantly putting the pressure on. Sergio Moraes isn't really that type of fighter that's going to constantly pressure you with shots the whole fight. He's more just going to look to land big shots, big leg kicks, and take you down. So I think Worley.Alves is going to be able to avoid the takedowns for the most part and avoid danger on the ground. And I think he'll be able to land the cleaner and more shots in terms of volume than Sergio Moraes. Although Sergio Moraes is dangerous with his weird looping shots, but I think that Worley.Alves is going to take this one. I'm going to give Worley.Alves via unanimous decision. I think if he finishes the fight, it may be late. Although he has a questionable gas tank, Sergio Moraes doesn't have the best gas tank. But yeah, I think Worley.Alves edges him out. On the feet, avoids the ground game because he has a decent ground game of himself, avoids the submissions, and just edges him out for a unanimous decision. So with that being said, guys, Worley.Alves via unanimous decision. Moving on to the headliner of the early prelims, we have Priscilla.Cachoeira squaring off against Luana.Carolina. To be honest with you guys, I didn't look much into Luana.Carolina. I watched a bit of her fights, not many of them. Priscilla.Cachoeira is coming off of that loss to Molly McCann. Although not that she impressed me with her fighting, she more impressed me with, in the third round, how she came out and was still walking forward. Like, she's always moving forward. She really is like a zombie girl. Like, she just moves forward, eats big shots, and she was able to screw up Molly McCann's eye, which could have easily, like, any ref could have easily ended that fight. But I think given the fact that, like, Molly McCann had like 2 minutes left, you know what I mean, at the O2 Arena, kind of in her home area, I think the ref kind of let it go. Luana.Carolina is a decent fighter. I haven't really watched much of her fights, but I think given the fact that Priscilla.Cachoeira has the UFC experience, comes forward, I think she'll be able to really outvolume Luana.Carolina, and get a unanimous decision. I don't see any of these two getting a finish, really. I think it's hard to finish Priscilla.Cachoeira. We've seen her finished against Valentina Shevchenko, which is probably the worst fight any female could get for her first fight. But yeah, I think Priscilla.Cachoeira will edge her out on the feet solely on the fact that she keeps moving forward and really is not necessarily a threat, but is landing points throughout the whole fight. But I'm not looking into this specific fight too much in terms of betting or predictions or anything like that. Moving on to the prelims, flashback to the future, BJ Penn versus Clay Guida. When I first seen this matchup, I kind of giggled a bit. I wasn't sure if it was like edited or if it was legit, but it is legit. BJ Penn hasn't won in like 6 or 7 years. Clay Guida is coming off of a loss to Charles Oliveira. Quick breakdown, I think Clay Guida really still has the gas tank and still has the fight in him, where I think it's completely gone from BJ Penn. I think BJ Penn has no right fighting in UFC, maybe in Bellator, like when a weird matchup against some other old fighter. Although Clay Guida is old also, Clay Guida still has good movement. He still fights very well. BJ Penn does have that submission threat, but I really think Clay Guida will be able to land the bigger shots and avoid the takedown. BJ Penn has that chance with the guillotine if Clay Guida tries to, you know what I mean, go for the takedown and leaves his head to the side. But I really think Clay Guida is just going to do a smart fight, edge him out on the feet, land takedowns when he needs, avoid the submission. And I think after the first round, BJ Penn's going to be gassed anyways, given the fact that Clay Guida is going to be pressing. I think it's really going to go downhill, and I think Clay Guida may actually get a finish in the third round. I think the volume and the pressure that he put on is going to be too much for BJ Penn. I think it's kind of going to be like a little systematic breakdown, and I'm going to also predict off of the fights, I'm going to predict BJ Penn retires after this fight. I'm hoping he does, man. But with that being said, guys, I'm going to give Clay Guida third round TKO. I think he's going to ground it pound BJ Penn. Going to be sad to watch, but whatever. BJ shouldn't be fighting anyways. Moving on to the next bout, we got Ferreira.Aldana squaring off against Correia. For me, this is one of my most confident picks of the night. Ferreira.Aldana has a 4.5-inch reach advantage, and she uses her range really well. Both of these females are stand-up fighters, so I don't think Correia is going to really shoot for the takedown at all, which really plays in Ferreira.Aldana's favor. It's a really good fight for Ferreira.Aldana, and I think it's going to be one of her breakout fights. She's really going to piece Correia apart. If you guys are looking to bet at all on this fight card and doing parlays, which I personally do, I like to do parlays, I would put Ferreira.Aldana as a confident pick. Her stand-up is evolving, and she's wicked with her hands, has power, mixes in the kicks well. Really don't think this is a good matchup at all for Correia. With that being said, guys, I'm going to give the unanimous decision to Ferreira.Aldana, and she may even like really rock Correia and may be able to get an early finish, but I would lean more towards a decision, but just play Ferreira.Aldana to win. So yeah, with that being said, guys, locking in Ferreira.Aldana via unanimous decision. So lightweight matchup at Holobaugh, and Thiago Moisés. Interesting to me that Kurt Holobaugh fighting this high up in the fight card. He's coming off of 2 losses. I thought he was going to be a lot better than he was in the UFC. Has really good stand-up, really good boxing, and a pretty decent ground game, although he did get submitted against Shane Burgos and armbar. Thiago Moisés, tough Brazilian, trains at ATT, so you know this guy's around top-notch fighters, getting good looks in training camps, fighting in his hometown in Rio de Janeiro. I think this is a really good matchup for Thiago Moisés. I think Kurt Holobaugh throws his jab and mixes in his punches. Not better than Thiago Moisés, but has punching and has shots to kind of worry about. But I think Thiago Moisés has a lot more power than Holobaugh, and I think if it goes to the ground, Thiago Moisés is going to be a lot more aggressive in terms of his jiu-jitsu attacking. He's got really wicked submissions, has a few submission wins inside of the octagon too. Really stoked to see this fight and to see how Thiago Moisés chooses to fight this card. But with that being said, guys, I'm going to give the first round TKO to Thiago Moisés. Kurt Holloway's there to be hit when he exchanges, doesn't move his head too well, although he does throw his shots well. I think Thiago Moisés is going to land a big shot and put him out early. Locking in my decision with Thiago Moisés via first round KO. Headlining the prelims, Lil Nog, Rogerio Nogueira squaring off against Ryan Spann. A lot of videos I've watched are going towards Spann. Quick breakdown for me, man. Antonio Nogueira, we've seen him throughout his career take beatings and win fights. Man, the guy can take a beating. I don't think Ryan Spann's going to put him out. Doesn't mix his shots well enough. He's fighting in Brazil. Still relatively new to the octagon, man. This is a tough environment to be in, fighting Lil Nog. I think Lil Nog might take some damage early. Look for the takedown and lock up a submission on Ryan Spann. I think it's going to happen in the second round. Not similar, but kind of like the Glover in Curilaba fight, where Glover got rocked early in the first round. Second round came out, took him down, locked up a submission. Although Lil Nog's going to want to exchange, I think he may taste a bit of Spann's power and realize he should just go for the takedown or mix in the takedown. And the instant it gets to the ground, I really think Lil Nog's going to be able to end up getting a submission, but I don't think that's going to happen until the second round. So I'm going to lock my decision as Lil Nog via second round submission. Moving on to the main card, kicking off the main card, and guys, all these fights are actually pretty wicked matchups outside of Thiago.Alves. I think he's a bum, but we'll get into that after. Diego Ferreira squaring off against Francisco Trinaldo. Francisco Trinaldo, man, wicked kickboxer, powerful guy. I think the guy's like 40 or 41 years old, so the guy's kicking ass. And at his age, Diego Ferreira, tough Brazilian, decent decent kickboxing, a pretty solid ground game, and I think he's going to look to get this fight to the ground. The way I see this fight playing out is Francisco Trinaldo trying to land shots at range, uses kickboxing. Diego Ferreira going to mix in the kickboxing, but I think Diego Ferreira is a smart fighter. I think he's going to look for the takedown, wear on Trinaldo, and really just grind out a decision in this. I think his stand-up bodes well against Trinaldo. I don't think Ferreira is going to get rocked or put out, and I think that given the fact that he's able to mix in the takedowns and mix in some ground game, he's going to be able to edge out Francisco Trinaldo, really wear on him on the ground, and really kind of throughout the second and third round, we're going to see less volume from Francisco Trinaldo and Diego Ferreira pick up as the fight goes on. So I'm going to give Diego Ferreira via unanimous decision. Squaring off against the next welterweight bout, we got Thiago.Alves squaring off against Staropoli. Although Thiago.Alves rocked Max Griffin in their fight, I think Max Griffin easily edged out the second and third round. I don't know how that was a split decision at all. Unless they, I don't know how that was scored. Thiago.Alves hasn't really been that impressive. The guy gasses after the first round, is dangerous though. I think they kind of fed him a fighter. I didn't really look too much into it. What's this guy's background? Is he Italian? He's from Argentina. I was hoping he was Italian. I would have gone for him. 6 foot though. Damn, the guy's tall. Not really that big of a reach. Quick breakdown. I think Thiago.Alves via unanimous decision. Going to use his kickboxing to edge out this UFC newcomer in his hometown, but this is one I'm staying away from. You never know with Thiago.Alves. The guy could possibly land big shots or could gas himself out after like 3 minutes in the first round. So staying away from this fight, but I'm going to give the edge to Thiago.Alves given the fact that he has more UFC experience, he's been the distance, and it's in Rio de Janeiro. So Thiago.Alves via unanimous decision. Squaring off in the next bout, man. This is a wicked matchup right here, guys. This is a crazy fight. I'm excited for this one. Alexander the Great Volkanovski coming off a wicked KO win, and Jose Aldo coming off another wicked KO win. Man, this fight for me is kind of like, if Jose Aldo can do this, it's like, okay, he's back. He's back. And then if Volkanovski can win this, it's like, okay, he's arrived. So it's a really interesting how this fight lays out in terms of Volkanovski breaking through to that next level of like general top tier fighters, and Jose Aldo kind of saying like, okay, like I'm still here. These last 2 wins ain't just a fluke. Like I'm still here. It's a tough matchup, man. I think if this fight goes past midway through the second, I think Volkanovski's chances go up, man. This guy has pressure and he pushes the fight, has good hands, can mix in the wrestling. We've seen that against Chad Mendes. Although I didn't like how Volkanovski got not rocked, but got like knocked down against Chad Mendes, man. Because if Chad Mendes rocked him, he's going to be looking for big shots. Tough for me because Volkanovski does have good wrestling, but Jose Aldo is so freaking tough to take down, man. We've seen like no one have ease taking that guy down. Frankie Edgar, man. Jose Aldo, unanimous decision, Frankie Edgar. I think Frankie Edgar and Alexander Volkanovski is a really good matchup, but you can't do UFC math like that. You never know what's going to happen. So my breakdown of this, I think Jose Aldo is going to come out sharp in the first, land some powerful shots, nullify. I think he's going to be able to stop Alexander Volkanovski from pressuring him because Volkanovski is going to get hit with some shots that may rock him. Although there is a chance that Volkanovski eats the shots and then in the second and third round keeps coming forward, wears Jose Aldo down. But he's going to have to get a finish. I don't think they're going to give him a decision in Rio de Janeiro against Jose Aldo. But it's like I look at Jose Aldo's last 5 years, 6 years of fighting. He's only lost to Max Holloway and Conor McGregor. We've all seen that. And then Holloway, like, that's the thing. I think, like, Volkanovski could have a Holloway style win. He pressures a lot, he throws a lot of shots, and he can take some damage like we've seen against Chad Mendes. But he didn't take the damage, like, he took the damage well in terms of recovering, but in terms of him getting knocked down, I really don't like that. It's kind of a pick 'em, as crazy as it sounds, but guys, I'm going to edge it out. I'm going to go with Jose.Aldo here, man. I think the guy fighting in Brazil, coming off of 2 big KO wins, going to have the confidence, and I think he's really going to be able to bring the power early. Volkanovski's going into enemy territory. Shoutouts to Volkanovski. He's going to be walking out to Game of Thrones. Shoutouts to Arya Stark. But anyways, guys, I'm going to give the KO, going against the grain here, KO victory to Jose.Aldo early, solely on the fact that, you know, he's going to be in Rio, but he's going to be looking to land some shots. But, man, don't count out Volkanovski. This is a pick-em. If it goes past the first round, mark my words, Volkanovski is going to pick up, and it's going to be dangerous for Jose.Aldo. I don't think Jose.Aldo is going to get a late finish or anything like that. If it's going to be a decision, it's going to be close. Jose.Aldo is going to need to hurt Volkanovski early and put him away, and I think he's definitely capable of doing that. I don't think we've seen the last of Jose.Aldo just yet. So I'm giving the win to Scarface Jose.Aldo via first round KO. Moving on to the co-main event, Jared Cannonier against Anderson the Spider Silva. Jared Cannonier, man's going to be looking to land a big shot. And Anderson Silva, man, Anderson Silva hasn't been knocked out, like, only against Chris Weidman, but that was him being an idiot. We've seen him fight hard hitters. Dion Branch. Fucking fought Jared Cannonier. Anderson Silva's fought some heavy hitters, man. Cormier hits pretty heavy. We've seen him knock out Stipe. Derek Brunson hits heavy. Chris Weidman hits heavy, but obviously he knocked him out. But yeah, man, I think this is a good matchup for Anderson Silva, given the fact that he's going to be able to use his range really well in terms of his height and gauging Jared Cannonier's big shots. We've seen Cannonier knock out Branch, but I think Branch is a bit overhyped, to be honest with you. Although he hurt Rockhold and we've seen him KO Santos, I really think, like, Branch isn't what he's made out to be. And Jared Cannonier, man, coming into enemy territory, Anderson Silva is going to be able to avoid Jared Cannonier's big shots, although, man, he has a puncher's chance, and Anderson Silva is going to be there to get hit. But I really think, I think this might be Anderson Silva's, like, not homecoming, but his last fight in Brazil, kind of like a last sayonara, and kind of where it all started for him. And Jared Cannonier, you're going to need to watch him being explosive. Anderson Silva's kind of, the way Anderson Silva fights is it's hard to be explosive on him because he fights at a range where you kind of need to be like Israel Adesanya, where you're throwing one shot and then another shot. Not like the first shot may not necessarily hit him. You're going to have to hit one shot and then throw another, kind of like a combo of shots, because he's going to be avoiding that first shot, and you're going to have to hit him on the second or third shot. And I don't think Cannonier throws in bunches like that to really pose a big threat to Silva. Although, man, the guy has power. We've seen him put people out. But I think Anderson Silva is going to really be able to avoid that power and edge out a unanimous decision win. So I'm not going to be betting on this one either, given the fact that Cannonier has power and Silva can be hit. But I think Silva's really going to use the range well. Possibly do like kind of deep kicks to the knee, throw some leg kicks, although we haven't seen many of those since the Weidman. And use the jab, avoid Cannonier's big shots, and just edge him out for a unanimous decision. I don't see him finishing Cannonier unless it's with a body kick or like a switch head kick or something like that, which would be nice to see Anderson Silva, but I think he'll just edge out a unanimous decision win over Jared Cannonier, who's going to be looking for the big shot for the whole fight. Moving on to the main event of the evening, we got Rose Namajumas squaring off against Jessica Andrade. Wicked fight here. Wicked fight. Crazy to me that Rose is the betting underdog. Rose coming off of Two huge performances of Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Something that I found really interesting is Jessica Andrade has like 4 more fights inside of the octagon than Rose Namajumas. Obviously, you see like the records here, and Rose has less fights. But what's interesting is actually in the UFC, like Jessica Andrade has more fights than Rose. So that's very interesting to me. Something that also stands out to me is that reach advantage right there. This is one of the first time Rose is fighting a fighter this much shorter, like this shorter than her. We've seen it against Tisha Torres. The first time they fought, she lost. Second time they fought, they won. This really comes down to Rose in 2 areas. Rose in the clinch, in terms of how she's going to be able to deal with Jessica Andrade's power in the shot. In Rose being able to avoid getting touched on the chin. She's gonna get hit, but you know what I mean. If Andrade touches you on that spot, it's gonna be dangerous for Rose. We've seen Rose clipped against some fighters, but never has fought anyone with the hand power of Andrade. Andrade can legit put you to sleep, and I don't think Rose has ever seen that power. She fought kind of a Joanna who was going down from her prime, whereas Jessica Andrade fought a Joanna Jędrzejczyk in her prime. Interesting, very interesting. That last fight against Carolina, that I was watching some footage on Rose, and kind of near the later round, she not fades, but she's not as kind of focused, and her opponents seem to land bigger shots. Carolina Kowalkiewicz in the clinch was a lot stronger than Rose, and I didn't remember that until I watched the fight. Like, Carolina was doing some damage to Rose in the clinch, and I think that's a dangerous spot to be with Andrade. I think Andrade can pick her up and throw her, obviously land big takedowns, but land ground and pound too. But Rose is a legit threat off of her back, so it's kind of like Andrade is going to have to fight a fight where she's getting in, landing big shots, and staying in there, and not getting overeager to grab Rose and try to take her down, because Rose is good off her back. She's dangerous off of her back. But this is in Brazil, so like if it goes to decision, it could be Jessica Andrade. So she may not be too worried on getting up and getting the knockout, where she's just gonna be trying to put points together. Whereas if she may have been fighting, outside of Brazil or in the States, she may be looking for the knockout, thinking that I need to get a knockout to win. She's a champ. I can't get a decision, so that might give her confidence in terms of fighting a better fight. Rose, wicked range. What's the word I'm looking for? Like wicked at gauging the range, wicked at slipping punches. We've seen her boxing improve a lot. Her kicking game has improved a lot, and I think that's going to be something to watch. Rose Namajumas' kicking. This is a tough matchup for me, because in terms of better striking, I give it to Rose, but better power, I give to Andrade. Better ground fighter, I give to Rose, but stronger grappler and more dangerous in the clinch, I give to Andrade. The X factor for me is that Andrade power, man. Like, Andrade hits hard. She hits super hard, and if she's able to hit Rose, it's going to be a lot of trouble in Rio. And I think it's hard to put away Andrade. We've seen Rose rock Joanna to where that kind of phased Joanna. Joanna didn't really want to commit to a lot of her shots, whereas I don't think she's going to be able to do that to Andrade, like really rock her. But I could very well see Rose just kind of keeping her at distance with her range, with her shots, and just winning a unanimous decision, just picking her apart throughout the 5 rounds. That could very well happen. But then there's a side of Andrade fighting in her hometown, has power, able to get in, worried about Rose landing the big shots. Like, that's a real threat. I just don't think Rose is ready to give up that title, man. I think Rose is starting to peak, and then maybe once she peaks, she'll maybe get a rematch against Andrade, but I don't think Andrade is going to be the one to dethrone Rose. Although, like I'm saying, and she has the power to do it, I really think Rose is going to edge out a decision in this one. Going to be able to use her range, avoid Jessica's big shot, just going to stay focused and retain the title. Thug Rose, man. Big not a big underdog, but still an underdog as a champ. Jessica Andrade, the threat is real, man. The threat is real for a KO, but I don't think there's that threat for a decision. I think outside of the maybe first, I was gonna say maybe the first 3 rounds, but that's a lot of rounds. Outside of the 3 rounds, I don't think that KO threat's gonna be there for Andrade. Because you got to think she's carrying a lot of muscle, man. That lactic acid builds up. A 5 round fight for her. She hasn't been through many 5 rounders, so you know what I mean. The gas tank is questionable. Where Rose can do it. Rose can go 5 rounds. So all she needs is 1 through 3. Pick one of those rounds and then take the last 2, and it's a fight for Rose. So with that being said, guys, I'm gonna lock in Rose for a unanimous decision win. I think she's going to be able to avoid the big shots, use her range well, and fight like a champion in this fight. I still think she's peaking, although the threat is real for Jessica Aguilar. Quick shout out, guys, to Mob Ty D, Mob Ty Dylan, and to Sammy Lights Out and Wawa.